Everyone, my name is Ben, and today I'm going to be doing my speech about why I think everybody needs to put their phones down and pick up a book. And I have one audience member here, my girlfriend, and then, hey, come here. My dog was supposed to be my other audience member, but she doesn't want to. So, Rosie, come on. Come listen to my speech. It's fine. I'm just going to leave this in. It's real. I'm a real person doing a real speech. Anyways, so
I'm gonna go get Rosie.
So I'm going to talk about why I think that social media and especially Reels and TikTok, like specifically, are having more harm than good on our society. A couple of personal examples of how I've proven that to myself, and then of course I have like a couple of things, sources. This one of them is health.harvard.edu. There's an article about doom scrolling. It's going to kind of support my point. But I think most people, especially my age, I'm 22, so in that age range, we all are addicted to our phones. I know I am. Every day I try to. Oh, our second audience member is back. There she is. I know. Me personally, we're all addicted to our phones. First thing I do in the morning, pick up one of the first things that the Harvard article says is, what's the first thing you do when you woke up this morning? If you reach your phone and scroll through the news or got on Reels or something like that, you're not alone, and I know that for a fact. And most of people I know are the same way. And I mean that's addiction, and it's just a textbook definition of addiction. But like, what does that actually mean? Like, how is it affecting us? We're so used to it. We've been doing it for, I don't know. I got my first phone when I must have got my first phone in 2014, 2015, something like that. So it's been almost 10 years of having one, right? At least I don't remember what it was like really before I had one. It was fifth grade was the last year I didn't have one, right? So, how is it affecting us? What can we do to put it down? And like, how are you really going to see benefits from not being on your phone as much, reading, all this kind of stuff? And a lot of it comes back to dopamine cycles in your brain, right? You watch reels, you do whatever. It is instant dopamine, right? I talk about this a lot with my friends, is trying to put our brains in the place where they're meant to be so we can be more effective. I know for me, when you have these incorrect dopamine responses where you're just kind of scrolling, your brain's happy but you're not actually doing anything, right? This is why the gym is good. This is why all these things are good, is when you put in effort and you get a good response. That's how you want to train your brain to function. And scrolling on Reels and TikTok is the complete opposite of that. So at least for me, I find that the more I'm on my phone, the harder it is for me to focus. So it exacerbates ADHD symptoms. I have an ADHD diagnosis. I have an Adderall prescription, but I can completely forgo the Adderall. I did this for a week. I completely dropped my phone, and instead of scrolling, I would read. And when I did that, uh, gone. Every ADHD symptom I had just gone, just like that. It was crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are in a similar situation as me, but they don't actually need it. They just need to put their phone down. Which, I mean, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't really like having to rely on Adderall. If I can get rid of it by being a healthier person, I'm going to choose that option. But that's one of the examples, is the lack of critical thinking. I mean, when I'm on my phone too much, new subjects in math are a lot harder for me to understand at first. It takes me a lot longer to learn it. My like quick thinking and focus and all this kind of stuff, my attention span, whole bunch of that. My social cue, my ability to pick up on social cues, even that suffers. So there's definitely my experience with why. But alongside just the scrolling and the incorrect dopamine response and all that kind of stuff, the other part about it is you have a couple different cycles, or responses, and the kind of things people look at on social media, less just of the scrolling, more kind of social media in general, Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that, that harm people's mental health. This is, I think, ADHD and mental health, like depression, anxiety, and stuff, I would put them in separate buckets, because I think they come from, they're different, how do you say it? Like,
one is mental illness, one is a condition.
Well, yeah, what she said. One's a mental illness, one's a condition. When it comes to the anxiety and depression side of it, I'm very lucky. I don't experience this, but I can read, online. I can see people that I'm really close to, experience it. I can try my best to understand it from that perspective. But there's a saying, thief is, oh God. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's awful. Anyways, comparison is the thief of joy. And that couldn't be more true with social media, right? I mean, both, I think boys and girls experience it differently, but at the end of the day, the main thing is going to be comparison to other people who are only showing the best parts of their lives without actually showing you what's real, right? And you know everything about your own life, and you only see the top 5% of the best parts of their life. You're going to just assume that the rest of their life is like that too, which it's, of course it's not, right? And you got to explain this to kids. I think me and the people my age, or maybe we're kind of growing out of it. We've been around social media basically. Like, I remember when Instagram came out, which means I was alive before Instagram, which for someone my age is kind of weird. I know there are people younger than me that never have known anything different. And they have to wrap their head around how all this stuff works. But the other thing, and this is another thing that the Harvard article talks about, is news headlines, all this kind of stuff. It's never anything good. It's never anything good. So if you are waking up, you're either going on reels and you're screwing over your attention span and your dopamine response and your ability to focus on things, or you're opening up the news and now you're like, all the world's falling apart, right? It's never anything good, which is why part of my persuasion part of this speech is to try and persuade you guys, prove this is what's wrong. Here's what you can do instead. I have recently started to read books. It's crazy, especially for someone like me who was like, throughout high school, was like, I don't read, I'm cool, I don't read, you know what I mean? I'm not the only one who's like that. But at this point, cool, sure, the books are cool, I learn fun stuff, but it's like, it's more because when I force my brain to do something that is not easy, comparatively, reading's not hard, but compared to doom scrolling, it is definitely easy. Or it's harder. The when you are successful at it, and by that I mean like make progress in the book, finish the book, or learn something, you remember something, all that kind of stuff, not only does it get easier over time, but your brain starts to associate challenging things with a good feeling, a good response, right? This is why the gym is great, because it's hard, but after you get I think it's serotonin for the gym, you get a flood of serotonin. So that's why I think we need to get off our phones, start reading, start going outside, do hard things that are going to be advantageous for you in the long run. And also, this is something, just a little side note when it comes to the reading, if you are just starting, you'll find, and I found out this like through all of high school when I was reading books for classes, it was so difficult for me. Like, I know how to read, but it shouldn't be this hard, because you'd read a line, like, or a line on the page, and your brain would be somewhere completely different. Like, you're reading and somehow you're thinking about something completely unrelated, but yet the words,
retaining the information you're reading.
Well, of course you don't retain information, but what I'm saying is, like, the fact that I'm able to read a line, I could say the words out loud, right? But my brain is thinking about something completely different, and I'm not actually processing any of it. And then you do this and you read it and you're thinking about something else, then you catch yourself and you're like, holy crap, I just read a whole page and I have no idea what I just read. I was thinking about something completely unrelated, right? You have to read it multiple times. You have to force yourself to actually remember it. That goes away after a little bit. And once that goes away, once you notice it going away, you're actually making progress and you're going to notice benefits in other parts of your life. So, anyways, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Appreciate it. I hope you guys can, hear what I say, try it. I'm sure it'll do well for you. Thanks.